Hello everyone, let's go to chapter 32 of this great book, the Tao Te Ching. So lesson 32 is basically try to live the goodness of the Tao. It goes back basically of the naming. Remember when the first chapter of the book said, the things that you name is not the Tao, which is true. Because in this world, when you grow up, you always learn how to divide things, how to analyze things, by breaking it up in pieces, which is a good tool. But the problem is, once you start naming things, as I mentioned in my first chapter of this great book, the Tao Te Ching, that means you negate it. So basically, you are not your name. Remember that. It's very crucial. Let's say your name is, I always use the name Jackie, but let's use a different name, Cinderella. That means you're not the Cinderella, whatever you picture into yourself, because there are so many Cinderellas as well. Even though sometimes the last name is similar also. Some people has your last name also. So you're not basically the same as that person who has the same first name and the same last name. So you're not your name. Also, we talk about it many times that you're not your thoughts. You're not your emotion, and you're not this physical body. You are the consciousness that is aware of the now, basically of the current situation. And if you understand that you're not your thoughts, basically it's very crucial, because every time we have so many thoughts, the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep, I think people estimated that there is thousands of thoughts every time. It comes, it goes, it comes, it sticks, and it goes, and etc. and etc. You think about things, so many things. Sometimes you think about the things that you think about yesterday, and that's very like a deja vu, meaning that it's like it feels very similar. But if you are aware of what you're doing, every day will be a special day. Let's take also the habits that you have. Like every time, if in the morning you wake up, you brush your teeth with your right hand, but now switch it to your left hand. Sometimes you forget, just put a sticky note in it. Why is it important? Because once you do it like quickly with your right hand, because you rush through the hours, then you're not really conscious, because that is your habit is doing that. Your body is doing that, but not your mind. So you're not conscious. If you want to be conscious, put a sticky note and say, okay, now do it with my right hand, now do it with my left hand. And of course it takes a little bit more time, but at least you also trigger a different side of your brain to work. I also tell you in a different video, you're not this body. Because when you were younger, you have a baby body, and then you have a toddler body, and then you have a child body, and now you have a teenage body, and now you have a grown-up body, etc., etc. So that's the problem also that I said to a lot of people. You're not this body, because once you identify, very important, don't identify to your name, don't identify to the position of the jobs, your thoughts, your emotion. I say I'm angry, this is so difficult, so I'm an angry person. No, you're not. That's the scripture also really said that I am that I am. In my previous video, you can take a look. It's also be careful what you identify with, or either you identify with the anger, or identify with the happiness, or identify with your name, identify with this body. So the identity has split us a lot. So I like to explain for you in this book basically the Tao Te Ching. He wants to explain many books here of the Tao Te Ching, but perfectly trying to give you the current situation where you can apply to your real life story. As long as you live in peace and harmony, don't divide anything in life. See it as a holistic view, even in this kind of world we're living in. Okay. So another thing that I want to share with you is that once we live in peace and harmony, then this world will be also in peace and harmony. So you have to live peace and harmony with yourself, number one. Number two, then people around you, everyone who's living in your house. And then expand yourself in your community, in your country, and then you will be peace in this world. Okay? So it's always start with you. So look at what you desire, this says here, to bring into your life. That means basically also basically you want to have something achieved. That is fine. There's always time for that. There's always time to set your goals. There's always time to achieve, but there's also time to rest. The most important thing that people forget is about the resting. They think it's about laziness. Much more than that. It's not about laziness. It's really about your awareness. Okay? The more you push against it, and the more it will come back. So what I mean about this one is also the fact that there's something that you really like, that I've learned from a great friend. He says, don't pull. And if you really don't like it, don't push. Okay, I think his name is the Master Chakhi. It's very important. That he also explained in an analogy why is it important. So take a cable here, maybe it's easier. So Master Chakhi also explained it much better than I do. Just Google him. And he said also basically, it's something that you really like. You see the beauty of the woman or the flower or anything that you desire. Don't pull. Why is that? Because it will, if you cannot get it, it will flabber away. And it's something that you don't like, also don't push. Because once you push, it will also come back very hardly. So meaning that also the same with your emotion. Not people say, oh, you're great, oh, you're awesome. Then you feel like, enjoy it, of course. But what I mean is that don't get your attachment to it. Because once you're attached to it, what if you lose your title? What if you lose your job? What if you lose your spouse, your children, your mother, your father, or whatever? The thing that you attach to, that means if they are gone, then you will break down. And also don't pull, the opposite, okay? If you can live in the Tao, that meaning that okay, you can enjoy it when people say you did a great job or whatever. You can try that, and other people say, oh, you did something lousy job, then you can improve it. I'm not saying that you don't do that. You still do it, but don't attach yourself to it. You're not the problem. You're not the failure. So and also you don't say to yourself that I'm a loser. Be careful. I am a loser. Be careful, because once you attach yourself to the I am, like I said previously, then it's identification. Then you're not living in the Tao. The Tao says don't identify with anything that is projected to you, and also don't pull. Okay, so both sides. Another thing is that you have to try to live like the rivers and stream. Many verses they always say like water, especially Bruce Lee, be water. So if you live like that, then you see that the rivers all stream back to the ocean, and the water also still come back to the river. So it's the flow. And once you have that kind of flow of life, then your life will never be the same again. So we need to find the river stream that are born of the ocean, and all creations are also born of the Tao. Just like water flows back to become the ocean, and also the creation flows back to become the Tao. So give up the need of in charge. So most of people likes to get in charge, but sometimes we have to let go and let God. Sometimes you do the part, not saying that you don't do any action. Like a lot of people misinterpret that the Tao Te Ching Wu Wei said no action, then everything gets done. Not true. There is a time for everything. So there's a time that you plant the seed, and you water it, you nurture it, and then you wait until the Tao or the God or whatever you believe in, the nature do its part. So you do your part, and the nature does its part. So this is how the world works. So don't take in charge too much. You take in charge and you let go. Then you let the Tao, let other people, let all the Tao, let the nature do the things. You plant your seed, and you will basically nurture it, and then understand that it will be growing. Also, a practical example what you can do, especially with this day and age of using the phone too much, then try to let go of your phone for at least half hour. Sometimes in the house you still get distracted. Go outside and leave your phone at home, so that you can jog or just walk in nature, and then use your five senses. I call it sixth sense, by the way. Use your senses to explore the 30 minutes that you have or 1 hour outdoor activity. Like if you run, you just focus on your running. If you're going to eat something outside, you just eat without any phone, without any distraction. Like I said, like I just told to a friend today, the same thing. Because most of the people, when they eat lonely, alone, then they will put a phone there and then they'll eat while looking at the phone or listening to audios or anything. And people call it multitasking or not getting bored. And that's the hardest part of all. We have to get a little bit bored, because that's, otherwise you will not never listen to the inner voice. For those that want to understand the inner voice is always trying to tell you something, but you are so being bombarded by all the external factors, the things you see, the things you smell, the things you hear, the things you taste, the things you know, this kind of stuff. And that's why we are so distracted. We have to come back to the center of the Tao, that once you go out, you do those things, you eat, you run, you jog, you listen, then you listen to the things, the voices, or the birds singing, or feel the wind, look at the sunshine, and touch the nature of the trees or anything. And also walk in barefooted, so that you're grounded again, so that you are being neutralized by this toxic environment, by always wearing shoes or slipper or anything. It's always plastic. And it's very bad. The morning you wake up, you put on the plastic, you put on your shoes, you go outside, you come back, you never really connect yourself to the earth. And that's why a lot of people has this kind of a lot of diseases that the doctor still this day cannot prescribe. The only thing they will do is just numb you. Not all doctors, by the way. That's apology to those doctors that are listening. But I mean, you get too much of the distraction of using artificial way to get cured. But you can do it in a natural way. By open up your mind, go outside without phone, especially phone these days. You run in the beach if you have a beach next door, or maybe a big field, or even your garden if you don't want to go that far. Then you connect yourself back to the earth. And if you live in areas where it's dense, that you live in a flat most of the time, it's okay. Fly in a park that is also connected to the earth, so that you can walk barefooted, so that you become one with nature again. Sit under the tree, okay? And then also touch the trees, so that you become one with the nature again. Listen to the birds, look at the sunlight, like I said, the cloud, the rain, whatever, anything that connect yourself back to nature. That's why a lot of people say what they get good ideas under the shower. Is because the water itself is connected to the source, and the source is the earth, okay, wherever it come from a river or a creek or whatever. So that water that is reserved for you to shower, it becomes like a oneness with nature. All right. All in all, I think I will leave you up with this Tao, is because it's amazing, because pay attention to the flow I just mentioned. Look for the new and joyous feelings within you. Explore yourself, meditate, most importantly. And I just mentioned a really great idea about how you can do it the better side. Okay, let me read it for you now. The way is forever nameless, though the uncarved block is small. No one in the world dare claim its elegance. Should lords and princes be able to hold fast to it, the myriad creatures will submit of their own accord. Heaven and earth will unite and sweat, and sweet dew will fall, and the people will be equitable, and though no one so degrees, only when it is cut are their names. As soon as there are names, one ought to know that it is time to stop. Knowing when to stop, one can be free from danger. And the way is to the world as the river and the sea are to rivulets and streams. Thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, or just share this video with other people that you think might be of help. Have a nice day. Bye.